Assalamu Alaikum everyone, welcome back to another video. I hope you're having a wonderful day. So next two videos are my favorite videos, and the reason I say that is because this one we're going to talk about dividends. We're going to talk about the amount of dividends I've received for the month of December and for the entire year. We're going to talk about the rental income that I've received, so the passive income side of things. We're going to talk about the future income, inshallah, what I expect to receive in the 2025, inshallah. And then I'm going to tell you exactly what my goal is with regards to dividends basically for 2025, inshallah. So, and I'm going to share with you guys, since I've started investing for the last 5 years, how much I've actually received in dividends for each year, and then I'll show you the accumulative at the end, inshallah. So that is basically what we're going to talk about. And the next video is going to be slightly longer, but we're going to look at the entire portfolio. I've divided the entire portfolio into like it's not even sectors. I like to different like sectors. I've done my own sectors, if you like. Okay, so I've done like almost 4 different sectors divided in the entire portfolio, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm doing with it, what it is first of all, and then what I'm doing with each sector moving forward, because I do need to make some change to some of the sectors, some of the things that or companies that I own in the portfolio, inshallah. So I'll share all of that with you guys. If you are new here, this is my actual portfolio. What you see is real money. I've been sharing this for the last 4 years. This channel has been on for the last 4 years. Go back to watch the first video up until now. I've shared this portfolio on daily basis. You've seen the days it was in the red and the days it was in the green and in between. And I'm going to continue doing that, inshallah, in 2025 and beyond, inshallah. And that's my main goal. I've always said I've learned a lot from basically watching different investors and different top guys who actually own, I don't know, billions of dollars or whatever, read their books and understood whatever. And I'm trying to share that with the community by actually showing practically what I'm doing. There are a lot of people out there who will tell you I'm doing this, but you don't really see their portfolios and so on. I've been sharing this and I've been honest and transparent about it. The only portfolio that I don't really want to share on this channel here is the family portfolio. However, you can get access to them on the Patreon account. Okay, so if you want basically access to the family portfolio and see what is in there, you can go into the basic Patreon account where $5 a month you will get access to all of these things, inshallah. And you can private message me, and if there are anything, I get a lot of private messages from the community, and normally I try to respond as much as I can, as quickly as I can. And you've got a Discord of people who are doing the similar sort of thing, that are sharing good practices, what they're buying, what they're selling, why they're buying, why they're selling things. So you get a community of people, and that's what we're trying to do here. I'm not trying, basically, I'm not a guru, I'm not a financial advisor, but what I'm doing is sharing good practices, telling you exactly what I'm doing, why I'm doing, and hopefully someone will learn something from it in the long run. And if that is the case, alhamdulillah, we've achieved what we wanted to achieve. And we want to help as many brothers and sisters out there, because there's so many people, as like I said in the last video, that's so skeptical about when it comes to investing in the stock market. Number one, they don't know what it is, and number two is they don't know the ins and outs of how the stock market works. And everyone thinks, you know what, it's not Shariah-compliant, I'm going to stay away from it, or it's haram to invest in these companies and so on. They don't understand there are people scholars who put so much time and effort into actually making it accessible for us. And all we need to do is to spread the word, inshallah, and let people make their own decisions. If you think it's not, then go away and do whatever makes you happy. Go and buy properties and other things, inshallah. But of course, do learn first before you actually knock it back. Go away and learn about why these scholars, who they are, where they came from, what's their background. These are the people that know about fiqh, and they know about the ins and outs of what should be permissible, what should not be permissible. And if they come up with some ideas and things that we can do as Muslims to actually invest in the stock market, who are we, the common man, to knock it back and say, no, we're not doing that. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so go away and do your research, inshallah, before you knock it. And of course, let's help as many brothers and sisters as possible. Share this video with them, share all my videos, and let's do what we can to help the community, inshallah. Also, there are brothers out there and sisters out there who actually know a lot more than I do, that start channels, start things, do things, inshallah, that will help us, inshallah. Let's help each other, let's help the community. The more of us are hopefully out there, the better, inshallah. Right, let's now get to the video. And what the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go through the dividends I've received and from what companies that paid me and so on. Right, the first company that paid me is Visa. I actually mentioned this on the last video where we talked about dividends I've received, because in Visa that basically paid me at the beginning of the month, towards the end of the last month, and I think by the time I did the video, I think it was the first or second. By then they've already paid me, so I mentioned it. But 20 shares, £7.93 is what I got from the company. I'll talk about more about this in the next video, but I really like Visa. It's probably one of the best companies out there when it comes to dividend growth side of things. It is Sharia compliant because they don't deal with any riba side of things. They facilitate for the transactions to make sure that basically the tech company more like than anything else, to be fair. Next one is West Management. This is a new addition to the portfolio. I had 2.4 shares at the time. £1.22 is basically what I got from the company. Next one is UPS. They paid me let's call it £56 for 51 shares that I own of this company. Now this is probably one of the companies I'm going to spend a little bit more time. I've talked about it in the last video. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on talking about it in the next video as well. But I've had a company in my portfolio quite some time. It's down a lot, and there's a lot of, if you haven't seen last video, go and watch it. There's a lot of things happening in the business that are making this stock not go up as much. It underperformed the S&P 500, and we will see what happens. But still paying me really good dividends, so I'm going to keep it in the portfolio, and I'll let you know exactly what the plans are moving forward. Cummins is another one. I will talk about more about this company in tomorrow's video. I had 17 shares at the time, almost £21 payment. They have consistently been increasing this dividend, so every time they pay me, there's a bit more than what I received last time, which is absolutely amazing to see. The next one is the S&P Global. Again, this company, I bought it. Number one is a dividend king. Number two is actually gone up a lot. I bought it for basically capital appreciation, but also it does pay dividends and is a dividend king, meaning they have increased that dividend for 50 plus years. Actually, they've increased it for 50 years now. So I had $16, 16 shares. They paid me £9.70. Home Depot, I've had these 14 shares. I wish I bought more at the time where I was buying this company, because it's gone up so much and it's been overvalued for quite some time. They paid me £21. I think they've been paying me around this £21 for quite some time now, and I do own those 14 shares. I wish I could buy more right now. I wish the stock market crashes and this company gets, I don't know, 20-30% down, lower than where it is right now, because I will be loading up. I promise you, I will definitely be loading up, because I really like the business model. I like the company. I like what they're doing. It's a very predictable kind of business, bit cyclical at times, but that's absolutely fine because it's consumer discretionary, meaning if basically housing prices are going, the housing, everyone is buying new houses or renovating their houses, this is a company will benefit from. So depending on how the economy is doing, housing is doing, of course this company becomes a little bit cyclical in that sense. Right, the next one's Qualcomm. Probably one of the best technology companies out there. This company should have a wide economic moat, in my opinion. It does have a narrow economic moat, and the reason I said that is because they've got a lot of patents and things like that, and when it comes to 5G and so on. So I do own 30 shares. They paid me £17.26, and yeah, it's been increasing that dividend every single year for quite some time now. I think it's about 21 years or so. Next one is Broadcom. You wouldn't think Broadcom is a dividend-paying company. Trust me, when I bought it because it was undervalued. The dividend was great. The valuation was perfect at the time. And right now, look at it. 50 shares up. It's probably up over 400% in my portfolio. I will talk more about it tomorrow in the next video, inshallah. 50 shares, they paid me about £20, which is quite nice to see. Right, so total amount, so one more, and then I will give you the total. Union Pacific is the next one. I really wish I bought more, but it's coming back to my price range right now, so I will see how it goes. 26.5 shares, they paid me about just over £26, which is quite nice. So I really like the business. It has come down quite a bit, underperformed the S&P 500. I'm going to talk about more about this company moving forward, inshallah. And finally, Hershey, 40 40.6 shares, £37.43 is basically what I've received from the company. I really like the business. Because of the cocoa prices, it hasn't performed too well, and the cocoa price has gone up, the margin has gone up a lot, and for that reason the stock has not basically performed as good as it should have. So we'll see what happens with the cocoa prices, but I don't think this company is down and out yet. We'll see what happens, inshallah. And the next one, final one, is Lindic. This basically, I wish I bought more at the time, but it has come down quite a bit recently, so I'm looking at it right now. The materials sector has not done as well as, of course, the rest of the S&P 500. 10 shares, they paid me just over £11. Now, in total, £226.32 is what I've received. $283.22 is basically what I got in terms of dollar side of things. Now, let's talk about a couple of things, okay? So a friend of mine said to me, listen, what's the point of you buying all these dividend things? What are you going to do with it? Okay. And I've said to him, you know what? Let me just explain something. Okay. I'm not just building this portfolio. I'm not just doing this portfolio just for the fun of it. I'm doing this because I have a plan. And my plan is this. Okay. It's very simple. There are different ways of investing. Okay. But the ultimate goal is some sort of a passive income. That's what I'm after, because remember, all of us are putting our money into these companies, we're buying in these ETFs and so on. In the end of the day, what we're looking for is some sort of a some retirement pension plan, something, right? And mine is very simple. All I want is to be able to live off my passive income, whether that's properties plus the stock market. That's basically the plan. Now, there are different ways of doing that. One way is what's called the 4% rule here. The 4% rule, I'm just explaining, I'm not going to go through this whole thing. You can go away and do your research. But the 4% rule is one way, and dividends is another way. Let me explain the 4% rule very quickly. 4% says that you build a portfolio of whatever assets you've got, right? And you are able to withdraw 4% of your investment every single year to live off. So first you define how much your expenses are per year. So say £30,000 or whatever, right? Then you withdraw 4% from your investment every single year, okay? And that way your initial investment is basically intact, if you like. So for example, you withdraw 4%, say you've invested in your entire money in the S&P 500, it returns 7% to 10% every single year. You're only withdrawing 4%. So your initial investment of basically whatever percent for the 4% withdrawal is basically less than what you'll be making every single year. So the idea is that you're never going to run up until at least you die in an older age, whatever, right? So that's one way. The danger with that is you are actually selling your own stocks, because you remember you're withdrawing 4%, which means the beginning of each year or whenever you're going to have to sit down and decide what to sell. Now, what if the markets have what's called the lost decade, where nothing happens for 10 years? 10 years of S&P 500 doing absolutely nothing. I genuinely mean like nothing. Look at the decade, lost decade. I might even do a video at some point. The lost decade was 10 years of basically the S&P 500 we just were going sideways, literally did nothing. So in those situations, it's going to be really difficult for you to actually sell anything, because the stock market is not doing well at all. You're not getting that 7%. So what you're selling is your actual initial investment, right? Overall, that for me, that's the danger of doing the 4% rule. So I don't want that. The dividend basically situation is simpler. If I have high quality businesses that will increase their dividend, and I mean, that's why we always talk about dividend kings paying dividends basically for 50 years. Those 50 years included the 10 years that we've had that was called the lost decade, but they still increased those dividends. So which means they're more reliable. So if they were increasing the dividends every single year, and I have a portfolio that inshallah that I can have some sort of that income from that will pay for my expenses, that's all I need, okay, in the long run. So even if basically the portfolio gives me £2,000 a month, and then my properties give me another £2,000, if my expenses, I'm just saying an example, is £4,000, I'm happy with that. Okay, and that's basically the most important part. That's what you need to understand. So right now, what are you investing for? For retirement? Okay, what is your plan? Is it 4% rule, or are you going to do dividend side of things? What a mix of both? What is the plan? You need to have a plan. You can't just be investing in the stock market. So that's the reason why I talk about dividends a lot. So now let's talk about more about dividends. Okay, as you can see here, when I started in 2020, okay, I've received about £163. In 2021, 558. In 2022, 1,162. In 2023, 1,683. In 2024, right now, I've received almost £1,900. So it's an increase of over 200 something pounds, right? And this is all I'm doing. Literally every single year, I'm going to add as much money as I possibly can. And this is what I'm going to continue doing. I'm basically, my current dividends, my companies that I own right now will pay me £2,300, basically the current companies, right? So my target is, inshallah, this number for the end of the year, inshallah, to reach at least 3,000. So that's another £700 in dividends. So whatever companies I'm buying, hopefully will give me enough dividends to actually reach my goal, which is 3,000 plus. If it's more than 3,000, it's perfect. If I can hit 3,000, that would be absolutely amazing, because that's what I want to do. And look at this. I'm basically expecting at least to add another £1,100, okay, in dividends next year. That's a massive jump. But again, I'm going to try it. I'm going to remember, I have not maxed my ISA account yet. I've got a long way to go. And I still want to do it. £14,000. I'm still basically persistent to say, you know what? I'm going to try. Even if I don't max it, I will be very close, inshallah. Okay. So I've got a bit of free funds right now that I will be deploying today, inshallah. And I'll let you know what I'm buying. But that was basically, that's my initial plan. So inshallah, every single year to continue compounding. And remember, every single penny that I've received, I've reinvested. So all of these £5,462 that I've received over the last whatever years have now been reinvested into the portfolio to generate more money. And this is what I'm doing. So please, when I do this talk about these dividends, don't just get it twisted. Don't think about, oh, this guy just talks about dividends for no reason. There is a plan behind it. Otherwise, we will be mad to not actually have a plan. So for the next couple of basically months, I'm expecting, this is in dollars, it's slightly different to be honest. It will change because I do have to pay the 15% or whatever. But as you can see, January is not a lot. February is kind of okay. March and April, yeah, decent. And then 200. So probably about £150 a month or whatever. But look at September. I'm looking forward to that. And I think a lot of it is because Rio Tinto pays around this time. Reckitt Benckiser actually pays around this time. So there's some of the UK based companies that are paying me a lot have actually basically paid around this time. So inshallah, we'll see what happens. But overall, that's where we are. That's what I wanted to share with you guys. I hope you're enjoying the content. I hope you're enjoying everything we're doing here and the transparency. You're learning something, and whatever happens, try to change your psychology of investment, saving, like stock market. Just don't worry about the fluctuation prices of prices going up, prices going down. Just think about the long-term plan. Okay, inshallah, I'm going to do an entire portfolio update for the whole, every single holding that I have, what the plans are for every single stock. I'll be sharing that with you guys in the next couple of days, inshallah. Have a wonderful day. Assalamu Alaikum.